So the most logical thing is to then make us into permanent legal residents. So this is what they begin to advocate for, right? So they start to advocate for a permanent legal status in the US. And it was not an easy thing to do because already, if you remember, right, in the early 1990s is when we see this rise in anti-immigrant sentiment in the United States, right? And there are all of these sort of immigration laws that begin to get passed in Congress, right? In 1995, right, there were laws that were passed to stop the flow of immigration into the United States. So already, right, these Central Americans found, that really Congress was not that receptive because, again, the only branch of government that can pass such a law is Congress. But that, and in this case, right, the Cubans in Miami also joined in to this demand. And if you remember, I said the Republicans control Congress. And again, right, the argument was that the claim was legitimate. That the claim was legitimate and that this particular group should be given this special consideration. So, in 1997, Congress passes a law called NACARA. NACARA is the acronym for the larger title of the law, which is the Nicaraguan Adjustment and Central American Relief Act. And what NACARA did was to grant a permanent, right, legal status to all of those who had come from these three countries in Central America, right, starting in 1982 and ending in 1995. So if you came between 82 and 1995, right, from these three countries, then you qualified to receive and apply for a permanent legal status. So 95 was the kind of like the end date because of the fact that the war ended in 96 in Guatemala, right? So 95 was kind of like the last date where, after that, right? Anyone who came after 1995 would not be granted a permanent legal status. Yes? 1982, yes. From 1982 to 1995. Yes?
Was it just kind of like a, not a lease, but why did it end at 1935? What was the...
Well, because, as I said, the wars were over by 1996.
Okay.
Yeah? Follow?
Was there, which month were you?
Huh?
Was there a certain month or something?
Well, I think it was like December 31st, right? 1995 or something like that. Dates can be very arbitrary. Like, for example, and the reason why that day was chosen, right? 1982, why 1982? Why not before? Right? The war started before. Well, just to give you a little bit more insight and information into that in 1986, there was a law that was passed in the United States called IRCA, which was the Immigration Reform and Control Act. And IRCA was the last sort of immigration law in the United States that would seek to legalize all of those who lived in the United States without authorization, who were undocumented. And so the cutoff date, so if you arrived before, I think it was January 1st, 1982, if you arrived before January 1st of 1982, then you qualified to receive a permanent legal status through IRCA, right? Most of the Central American refugees came after this date. So that is why the date started in 1982. Like for example, right? January 1st, 1982 was the cutoff date for IRCA. I came in May of 1982. So my family and I missed the deadline, right? For IRCA. So we came in May, so we didn't fit. So that this law would allow us to receive now a permanent legal status through NACARA. Yes?
So before NACARA, the last known law that was passed to give immigrant legal status here was IRCA?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes. Right? Which, today, right, the debate that is going on today is and has been, right, since the passing of IRCA, right, and then starting in the 1990s and in the 2000s, right, the debates that have been going on are around this issue, right? Now we have 11 million undocumented immigrants, and what are we going to do, right? Are they to be legalized? Are we going to pass another law that grants them a legal status? And that's been a big debate, right, that we've been having for the past 16 years or 17 years, right? Since the early 2000s, there's been this debate over it. And there's yet to be a resolution to it, right? And, between the two forces, the anti-immigration forces and the pro-immigration forces, right? And right now, right, we have within the United States, right, a very anti-immigration policy making, right, in which, like the Trump administration, right, has clearly stated that they're going to have a hard line against undocumented immigration, right? Just a couple of days ago, right, the Attorney General announced, right, a zero tolerance for undocumented immigration, right? That they're going to prosecute anyone who came across the U.S.-Mexico border without authorization. So, that this is an ongoing issue that, unfortunately, right, we won't be able to go deep into it, right, because we ran out of time. Yes?
Was it back then in the 80s and 90s, this extreme, radical, with the ones who opposed immigration?
Well,
is it as tough as today?
Oh, well, that really, what we have today was born in the early 1990s.
So right now, we don't, there's none of this. The government doesn't want to help at all.
Of course, yeah, no, so that this was kind of like the